World Breastfeeding Week 2021 is being observed from August 1 to 7. This year the theme is Protect Breastfeeding, a Shared Responsibility. During this week we are chatting with representatives of the Food Policy Division of the Ministry of Health. In today's conversation we focus on positioning and attachment. Let's welcome our guests who are Diekola Gittens, Community Nutrition Officer, and Mineta Andrews, Nutrition Auxiliary Officer. I'm your host, Jessica Daw. Ladies, welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here. And even as we observe Breastfeeding Week this week, starting from the 1st of August to the 7th of August, today we're looking at, like I said, positioning and attachment. So to start off, what is meant by positioning and attachment in relation to breastfeeding?
Okay, well, the position, when we talk about positioning and attachment for in breastfeeding, we look at the baby's position, how the mother positions baby to her body and her breast, and attachment is how the baby is attached to the breast. So the positioning, we want to ensure that the baby's head, shoulder, and hips are in line. And with the attachment, we want to ensure that the baby mouth is wide open and they get most of the areola, as we know it in the medical term, or as the mothers out there, they will know it as the darker part of the breast, where the nipple is. Once they get most of that in their mouth, that means that the baby will be attached well to the breast and they will have a good flow of milk that they need for proper growth and development.
All right, so let's get into it. What are the steps to doing this correctly?
Okay, so for the positioning, we want to ensure that the baby is held close to the mother's body. The baby's tummy should be touching mommy's tummy and not baby's tummy to the sky. Right? So baby should be held close, and like I said, it's something that we have to demonstrate that they can see it, but we want the baby's head to be turned into the breast. We know sometimes mothers feel that if they turn the baby into their breast, the baby might stifle, but that is not so, right? So you want to ensure that baby head is turned to the breast and the baby's head, shoulders, and hip are in line. So the baby should be in a straight position. Mommy should hold the baby in a straight position so the baby's comfortable. Because if baby isn't comfortable, he or she wouldn't want to stay and breastfeed for the time that they should breastfeed, that they would get all the milk that is required for proper growth and development for that child.
All right. I'd like you to touch a bit more into the importance of getting positioning and attachment correctly. Why is it important?
Good. So if the positioning is off, well, then the attachment will be off. And if the attachment is off, it can cause problems for both baby and mommy. The mother can experience sore nipples or cracked nipples. It's very, very painful, and she would not want to breastfeed, so that child will not be getting the adequate amount of nutrients. And as we all know, breast milk is the only thing that child needs between birth to 6 months old. So if the positioning is off and the attachment is off, mother will not want to breastfeed baby, and it wouldn't end nice for baby because they might want to use the formula, and it is not recommended that they use formula because breast milk has all the nutrients that the baby needs from birth to 6 months. So we don't want cracked nipples, or sometimes the baby is there and the baby is so uncomfortable because, take for instance, if you're drinking a glass of water, you hold the glass in front of you to drink, right? Now if I tell you to turn your neck to the left, extreme left, and drink that water, try to drink that water like that, it is very uncomfortable and you would not want to drink it. So if the position, if the baby's body is turned to the sky and the head is twisted, the baby would feel uncomfortable and eventually want to come off of the breast. So the baby would want to stop breastfeeding in the hole because it's very uncomfortable for them.
So you're talking about signs of doing it wrong. Are
Yes.
there any other signs of doing positioning and attachment wrong in light of for the mother and the baby as well? Will the mother feel any way different to know that she's doing it wrong? Or?
Well, the only thing that we know, if the positioning is off and the attachment is off, the mother will have sore nipples, and that is very, very uncomfortable. It's sore to the point where the nipples are just hanging there. So it will be very uncomfortable for mommy, and she will not want to breastfeed.
All right, thank you so much. And Miss Andrews, I was reading up on Breastfeeding Week, and it says that there is talking about nutritional and emotional advantages to both the baby and the mother. What are some of the emotional advantages for the baby and the mother? Because we've talked a lot about nutritional, but what about emotional?
Well, both emotional for the baby and for the mother. Well, when you're breastfeeding, right, it's a bond between both baby and the mother. And once the mother is not comfortable, trust me, the baby won't be comfortable as well. So, like Diekola said, positioning and that's where positioning and attachment comes in. So both the mother and the baby can feel comfortable. That's one advantage.
Yes, and mommy would be less likely to want to abandon her baby. Once the breastfeeding is established, you get that close bond between mother and baby. She can leave her baby in a room with 100 other babies, but when her baby cries, she will know that, listen, my baby's crying, he's either wet or he wants to feed or something. There's a connection that takes place when breastfeeding is established.
That's deep.
Yes, it is.
All right, so even as we continue in that light, I'm also thinking about working mothers. How working mothers will be able to position and attach correctly and have the time to do so?
Okay, well, most mothers, they have to return to work, say, about 3 months, after 3 months. So when they're at work, position and attachment can take place. But what we advocate for is that we breastfeed exclusively for the first 6 months of life, of the baby's life. So, as we all know, breast milk contains all of the nutrients that child needs from birth to 6 months old. So she has to go out at work at 3 months, right? So what we encourage mothers to do is to express their breast milk and leave it for whoever is taking care of the baby, whether it's a carer or the grandmother or aunt, whoever is there to take care of the baby. We encourage mothers to express so the child still get the benefits of the breast milk while mommy is away at work. Another important thing that we need to get out there is when they're at home with their baby, when they're on maternity leave, like from the time the child is about 3 weeks to a month, you start encouraging other persons to feed the child with the breast milk. So when she's ready to go back to work, the child is accustomed to getting the breast milk, but from another source, not from mommy alone, right? And another thing is that we encourage feeding with a cup and spoon method or a cup method, because we don't advocate bottle feedings. We don't want nipple confusion and so on, because we all like the easy way out, and the child has to work to get the breast milk out, whereas the bottle, it is just flown into the baby's mouth. And we all like an easy life, so it's no different for the child. So we encourage them to use cup or cup and spoon method to feed the baby, because with the bottle we have a lot of problems. We have diarrheal problems, we have vomiting, we have ear infections and so on. So we don't want the babies getting sick, because sometimes some of our carers, they don't clean the bottles properly. So we don't advocate for bottle feeding.
I hear you talking about expressing the breast milk. Ms. Andrews, you can chip in this one as well. What do you recommend is the best storage for breast milk?
Well, the best storage for breast milk is in the refrigerator. So for a working mother, When she leaves the house, she can express her breast milk within the morning period of time, and she can leave that breast milk in the refrigerator or home with the caregiver so that the caregiver can give the baby within that period of time that she's away at work. So as Diekola said, she can use that same breast milk, use a cup and a spoon to feed the baby, but before that she needs to warm up the milk a little bit, and then she can go ahead and feed the baby with that.
Is there a time period that the breast milk can be stored for?
Yes, it can be. So what we also tell mothers, we have to start expressing a lot of milk. We have to leave a lot of milk. So you're not going to express like in the morning for that day. You will have to be expressing while you're at work, when you come home in the night, and so on. So you dedicate like a shelf in the fridge, the refrigerator for that baby. Let's mark it baby's milk, right? And as you express, the first set of milk that you put in, you will use that first. So it's like first in, first out kind of method. Some persons who don't have a refrigerator or don't have access to a refrigerator, they can leave it in room temperature for up to like 8 hours. And she's away at work for how many hours?
So how long in the refrigerator?
Right? So in the refrigerator, it can be left there for 24 hours. Right? And if she has a deep freeze, and she expresses a lot of milk, that can be left there for like 3 months. Right? But when we're heating the milk, remember when the milk is coming from the breast, it's not coming hot. So we don't want to give the babies very hot milk. So what we encourage them to do is just leave it in room temperature, let it thaw, and get a bowl with some warm water, put it in that water, and then, they can just shake it up, stir it up. Well, we don't want anything going into the breast milk, but they can shake it with a cup so it's stirred, and then they can give the baby. So the baby, the nutrients in the breast milk will not be destroyed. So we're not using microwave, or we're not putting it on the stove or anything like that to hot it up.
All right. Thank you very much for clearing that up. And even as we wrap up for today, new mothers listening, and they probably didn't get it at first. Is there anywhere that they can go or call to find out more about positioning and attachment?
Yes, they can contact us at our department, 216 Lamaha Street, the Food Policy Department. And Mineta, you can help them out with the number?
Yes, the number is
223 9704
or 03
or 9703.
Yes.
All right, just go that again. So
223 9704 or 9703.
All right, thank you so much, ladies, for being with us today on talking about breastfeeding in relation to positioning and attachment.
Thank you for having us.
You're most welcome. We were chatting with Diekola Gittens, Community Nutrition Officer, and Mineta Andrews, Nutrition Auxiliary Officer from the Food Policy Division of the Ministry of Health. Today we focused on positioning and attachment as we continue to mark World Breastfeeding Week 2021. The theme is Protect Breastfeeding, a Shared Responsibility.
I'm Jessica Daw, and this is News Talk Radio Guyana